Welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm your host, Preston M. Smith. Hey everybody, welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm Preston M. Smith, at PMS Artwork everywhere on internet land and socials. I want to thank you for landing on this podcast. Whether you're a professional artist, just getting started in the art world, a collector of art, or just consider yourself a creative person, this podcast has something for you. I like to think of it as a fun way to rant and talk to other creative people about living the life of an artist, surviving and getting ahead in the art world, and enjoying your life. But most importantly, not waiting until you're dead to make it happen. All right, let's get started. I've got to take a moment to talk about something that's been a total game changer for me as an artist over the last 7 years. My Art Storefronts website. I joined Art Storefronts 7 years ago, and I can't say enough about how much I love this platform. What they've built is a complete system designed to help photographers, painters, and fine artists get better results with less stress. That's huge for me, as I'm constantly having to juggle my creative process with all the work that goes into actually selling it. Not to mention this podcast. With Art Storefronts, I've gone from feeling a bit spread too thin and time crunched to actually excited about the business side of my art. Their fantastic website software is designed to help you grow, and the cutting-edge marketing tools actually automate all the promotional stuff you know you should be doing but never have time for. And the support is absolutely top-notch. They really go out of their way to make sure you're properly supported and making progress towards your goals. With the fourth quarter holiday season still ahead, which is always the biggest time of year for art sales, including mine, now is the perfect opportunity to get started and set yourself up for success. Here's a huge perk for listeners of The Living Artist. Mention this ad and you'll get professional website setup included free. That's right, the team at Art Storefronts will build and optimize your new art selling website for you.
I never got that.
Waiving their optional $1,800 setup fee. That's big. Check it out at artstorefronts.com, the all-in-one solution for growing your art and photography sales from home. That's artstorefronts.com to learn more. And don't forget to mention The Living Artist to get professional website setup included absolutely free. All right.
That music can only mean one thing. Hi, everybody. I'm Tony Robbins. Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm here to talk about 5 lessons that I learned from...
Tony, let me stop you right there. Sorry to interrupt, but we're not really paying you to do the whole podcast. We're really just more interested in the intro, okay?
Excuse me, little fella. I'm Tony Robbins. Nobody tells me what to do. Okay.
No, it didn't work. We're gonna have to just play him out. Okay, so just cue the music.
Wait a minute. What's this? Son of a bitch. Well, I didn't sign up for this. The last time you're gonna get Tony Robbins on this show.
Works every time. Enjoy the episode, everybody.
Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. Coming to you live from the floor again, keeping up with my floor casts while I'm trying to get over this disease. Had a rough weekend, but it gave me a chance to watch a 3-part documentary with my wife that I want to talk about today. Not so much talk about the documentary, but talk about some thoughts and lessons that I had for artists watching this documentary. And that documentary was The Curse of Von Dutch. And yeah, it's very complex. I had no idea what this documentary was going to cover. I just saw the name and I was like, hey, Mags, to my wife, do you remember this like popular trendy brand, Von Dutch? And she was like, no. So we just put it on and we had no idea what we were getting into. Anyway, I thought I'd talk about it today, about this fashion company that kind of took over the world for a while and became super famous overnight almost. It wasn't overnight. It was, again, like the 10, 20-year overnight success story. But, you know, there's a lot of parallels between building your brand as an artist and building your brand as a fashion designer, a fashion company. And I thought I would talk about that. So this company was actually based off of the artist Kenny Howard, or Kenneth Howard, who went by the artist name Von Dutch, who was kind of known for his motorcycle mechanic work and pinstriping innovations and, some kind of iconic designs that he did. But some people built this brand and they wanted to turn the name basically into a clothing line. They wasn't really that interested in the artist, but they did kind of like his whole concept of like nothing is new, nothing is original, that kind of stuff. So they just took that idea and ran with it. And a lot of people got screwed over in this company. And that brings us to the first lesson that I want to talk about for artists building your career. And that is be careful who you work with. And more importantly, the relationships that you develop when you're coming up in the art world. You don't really want to screw people over, you know? You don't want to forget about the people who you worked with, who got you to the place that you are. And you always want to be grateful for that kind of stuff and try to keep those relationships alive, because I just think it's the right thing to do as a human being and as an artist, and just to kind of know where you've come from. But also, like, if you watch this documentary, you see there are at least 2, maybe 3 people that were worked with in this company who ended up being very dangerous and almost came back to bite all these owners in the ass and almost, tried to kill them. And some people did get killed. I don't want to ruin it for you. You should watch it if you want to. But I'm not saying you're going to get killed by anybody, but people can be vindictive, and artists can be vindictive. And, maybe you build your art brand a little bit with somebody, and maybe somebody feels like they got screwed over in the past, and maybe that comes back to bite you in the ass down the road someday. Maybe you get sued, or maybe they try to, tarnish your name or your brand, or, maybe they give you bad reviews online. Who knows? But the point is you always want to be kind of fostering these relationships and having gratitude for where you've come from and who you've worked with as an artist. I'm going to keep these going pretty fast because I think I have 5 of them. Don't want to make this super long. The next one I would say is free samples. I've talked about this before, not necessarily free samples, but this company did this brilliant thing when they were starting to blow up, and that was they gave their product for free to celebrities. They would let them come in, celebrities of like every different genre, hip hop, rock music, artists, actors, musicians, models, all these people. They would come in and they would just let them pick what they wanted to have from the store, and then they would wear these, and people would recognize them in magazines or on stage and go, "Oh my God, what is this label? I want to have this." And I thought that that was very smart, because a lot of people are like, well, don't give away free stuff. But I've always talked about like the gateway drug when it talks about your art career. Like I always used to do these little micro paintings, and I would give them to people for like a very small, not for free, but they were very affordable, and people would buy them. They were just starting out collecting. And most of the time, I would say 80% of the time, these people would come back and buy another piece, a bigger piece, and then ended up becoming a collector of mine. And so it was kind of like one of those similar type of like strategies, making your work accessible. I also did the Obama gig, which we've talked about, where I did, 12 paintings of the president, and celebrities got them, like Ed Harris, Ashley Judd, Patricia Arquette, Josh Lucas, so on and so forth, and Amy Brenneman. I did those paintings for very cheap. Like I was covered for my materials. I got to go to the inaugural Purple Ball in Washington, D.C., I got to meet these celebrities and give them the work. That was invaluable. I didn't so much get paid a ton for doing it. And, but that's still paying off for me, because, this was a great gig. I've got some pictures of the event. It'll always be on my resume. It's an interesting story. We're not going to talk too much about it now. But I also did that with the David Lynch Foundation. I worked with the David Lynch Foundation, and I auctioned off a piece that I did originally for free. Made money for the foundation. So it was raising money, but it wasn't for me. It was actually getting my name out there, having my work on stage basically alone with David Lynch himself, and just getting that out there. Those things are invaluable. So think about ways that you can be doing something similar, not like giving away free stuff. I've given away free prints with, original painting sales before, but think about how you can do this, how you can make something affordable, bite-sized, or if it works out for you where you do something for free and it turns into something bigger, a bigger collection or some sort of marketing strategy or some sort of news coverage, then I say do it. I'm all about it. What's the next one? Okay, so once you're kind of airborne as an artist, once you're going and you're selling, one of the things that I would say also from the documentary and from real life is be ready for rapid growth. This company just blew up, and then it just became its own animal, and it got out of control, and then they oversaturated the market, and all of a sudden their work was, or their clothing line was kind of being devalued by everybody has it. Everybody wants some, everybody has it. It's ubiquitous in our culture. So it became not that cool and original anymore. Like the celebrities who wanted to wear it, it was like, well, everybody's wearing this now, so I don't want to wear this. And that just kind of started to implode a little bit. You always want to be thinking about scarcity a bit with your work. I've done this personally with I have a huge body of work and I've sold a lot of my work. Like I've, painted 1,100 paintings or so. I've sold almost 700 of them. So, I've sold a big percentage of those, but I also still have a big body of work. So sometimes I will go back and revisit some old pieces and put them out there instead of just painting new stuff all the time. You want to kind of have a little bit of a scarcity thing. You also want to have some systems in place, like if you start selling, that you can handle the sales. I have the print on demand with my website, Art Storefronts. That's great. But if I sell original pieces, can I handle a big influx of sales? I had 27 sales in December one year, and I had to employ my wife and some family members and myself. I'm kind of a machine when it comes to packaging stuff. So I was able to handle most of it. But, I had all the materials on hand. My studio was set up in a way that could handle that infrastructure. I had a system in play where I could almost factory package these up, send them out. And I had a strategy in place of how this was to be packaged, how, what I was putting in there, the notes, what was a little template that I had for writing a note for people. I always vary those, but that's important. If you're not ready for that and you're trying to build your art and your brand, and let's say you're on a gallery or an online gallery, and all of a sudden people are buying a bunch of work and you can't keep up with it, you're going to get bad reviews. You're going to get bad word of mouth. People are going to maybe have a bad experience with you and not come back and collect your work. So that's very important, be ready for success, be ready for what that could mean for you and for having, rapid growth and being able to handle that. I think we got 2 more here. I'm trying to go through these fast so this isn't too long. Okay, so one of the things that Von Dutch, the artist, Kenny Howard, said was that nothing's original, right? He's not the first person to say that, but he was kind of, popularized for saying that, nothing's original. We're all basically, Picasso always says great artists steal, but it's a variation of that. And I do agree that nothing is completely original. There's been so much work over the decades and, millennia and, centuries of artists creating work and doing everything under the sun. I've tried some ideas in the past that I thought were original, even material wise. And I realized, this person did this. It doesn't mean it's not original to you, but it does mean that maybe you shouldn't be chasing that whole concept of, I have to just do something brand new. That's how I'm going to get my name out there. That's how I'm going to get successful. If I don't do something brand new, nobody's going to take notice. I don't think that's something that we should be focusing on.
With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, it's my classroom, you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, I'm the teacher's pet, even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
What does every USAA member have in common? Family. We're one big family who supports the military community and their eligible families. And if you, your parent, or spouse served, you could join our family and save big on auto insurance. Visit USAA.com/join today to check your eligibility. Membership eligibility and product restrictions apply and are subject to change. USAA means United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
I think we all have influences. Even the best artists of all time unabashedly have influences, So I think we embrace those influences, and then it's what we do with those influences. Do we make it our own? I've always had an amalgamation of pop surrealists and abstract artists and figurative artists and even some landscape artists that I've been very inspired by that I have synthesized into my own work over the decades. And I've come up with my own style, my own unique style. And I have sub-styles and sub-genres, but it's unique to me. And yes, you can see influences in there, and that's fine. As long as you're not copying people, 100%, you should be influenced by people. That's how we learn and grow as artists. But then it's what do you do with that? What filter and what individual experience are you putting that through so it becomes unique to you and therefore kind of unique to your own artistic style and brand? That's one. Nothing is completely original, but, it's what we do with that that's original. And then the last one, kind of a quick throwaway one is, spoiler alert, Von Dutch was not necessarily a very PC person. He had some racist ideologies and stuff that had come out. I don't want to ruin the documentary for you if you see it, but there was something that came out at one point that just put the final nail in the coffin for this company. And it was like, oh, you guys didn't know this. Nobody, I guess, looked in to this artist. They just thought it was a cool name. You know, he had some cool pinstriping stuff and designs and brands and metalwork and stuff. And they just ran with that and thought it was cool and turned it into this thing. Well, sometimes that can come back to bite you in the ass, especially in a culture like today where we are, you know, cancel culture heavy and very, information heavy. We can look up anything at any time. We can get on ChatGPT or any other AI tool and find almost any information. Nobody had found this. And it was like a lack of foresight, right? Like, what does your name, even though the name didn't represent the artist really, it was a brand. It was like trucker hats and denim jeans and all these things. And, it didn't really represent the artist himself, but that's why it's called the curse of Von Dutch, because he came back, said, what are you doing with my name? I didn't license you my name for this clothing line, which I guess is another bonus lesson from there, is to always make sure that you copyright your work and license your work, because you don't want people just taking your name and running with it and doing stuff that you don't want to be aligned with your name and brand, your ethos as an artist, basically. So always do your research. If you're going to align or you're going to be inspired by something, make sure you know what you're talking about. Make sure you know what this idea is about. Make sure you know that you don't want to be like ruffling any feathers, unless that's your thing. Unless you're trying to do controversy with your art, go back and listen to using controversy in your art. But it's just a cautionary tale to make sure you're doing your research with anything you're doing as an artist or public figure these days. I think it'll serve you well. I think I'm going to leave it at that for today. I have sufficiently worn myself out, and I got to get back to some treatments here. Glad I was able to get this one out for you quickly. Always grateful to be doing the podcast. Grateful to have you listening, and looking forward to bringing you another episode next week. Take care of yourselves out there. Take care of everybody else in your lives, and we'll see you next time on the next episode. All right.
Well, joke's on you. I didn't really leave. I heard the whole damn thing. Not bad. Not bad. Oh, yeah. Now, where's that damn helicopter? Ah, there it is. Robbins, out.
This has been the Living Artist Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I just want you to know that I appreciate you being here, and I'm grateful to be in your ears. Your art and creative life on this planet is meaningful, so thank you for sharing it with me. If you like this podcast, whatever platform you're listening to it on, please subscribe and share it with your friends. You can also leave me a positive review to show your support. This helps me to reach more people with the algorithmic magic and keep the show going strong. If you want to see more of what I do and check out the art that I create, you can visit my website at www.pmsartwork.com or follow me on social media everywhere at PMS Artwork. That's it for now. See you back here next time.